Hello, my friends. It's your girl Emmy M's back on the scene. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Everyone played it safe and still had fun. It's pretty interesting. There's so many restrictions right now, with the cold coming and this second wave of the virus and all that. Some people, they're not having it. It's just like, I'm going to do what I do every year. And some people, are taking precautions, to each their own. I feel that, we're not no one to really just be judging people for what they're doing. My prayer is always that people stay safe and play it smart, Family is really, really important throughout the holiday season, to just come together and add on to the memories that you already have. And I feel like this virus has really tried to separate people, from the physical contact to spending time with each other. Wow, I have to show y'all this tree. Look at that tree. Isn't it pretty? I love here in North Carolina when the leaves start to change colors. Anyway, let me get back to what I was saying. That tree is pretty. But yeah, this virus has really caused people to be so distant, and there's a healing that comes from fellowshipping with one another and being amongst friends and loved ones. There's a strength and healing that can come. So, I'm just praying for this virus to just disappear. Life, unfortunately, will not get back to normal, I don't think, like it used to be before. But there's different ways to make the best of this situation. So I want to talk about gratitude today, and I want to talk about praying without ceasing. A few days ago, on Thanksgiving, my husband and I and our family, we decided that we were just going to stay in, that we weren't going to go anywhere. We were just going to play it smart and, just stay home so that we can have a peace of mind. Like for me, sometimes when I'm out and about or I'm around people, I'm okay in the beginning, but then I start getting thoughts like warfare thoughts. I call it warfare thoughts from the devil. Like, oh, my throat might feel a little scratchy, or I might feel like a little cough, or my chest might hurt a tiny bit. And then it's kind of like, oh, well, could you have possibly have been exposed, or whatever the case may be. And I start getting all these thoughts, and those thoughts can lead to anxiety. And it's just like, then I don't have a peace of mind. And then I have to go in through prayer and like ask God to help me and talk to my husband about it so he can pray for me. And it's just not worth it, But we decided that we weren't going to go anywhere. We were going to stay in, and we weren't going to have anyone come over either, because I was on the fence on whether I wanted to invite a few friends, to the house for Thanksgiving. So I did still want to take a plate of food to my mom and to my dad, because they were staying home and they weren't going anywhere either. So, it took some time. It takes me some time to get ready at some points. Like back then, like when I didn't do my own hair, I was always wearing like wigs and stuff. I would just slap that bad boy on my head, do my makeup, get dressed, and go. Well, that day, of course, I'm having a wardrobe malfunction. Everything I'm putting on is not working for me. I have to do my own hair, so that takes time. Kids got to get ready. I have to oversee them and make sure that they're wearing something decent. My husband gets ready, and we have to make sure everything is good before we leave, especially with the animals. We have 2 rabbits, we have a dog and a cat. So we go to my mom's house first, and my sister was waiting for us, and I felt bad because I was late, and other people were waiting on her to get back home, and she lives a distance away. But when we got there, she was just really distraught because she didn't think she was going to get to see someone that she wanted to see. And the thought came to mind, and I say that was the Holy Spirit. Why don't you, she still had to stop at my father's house and take the food to him. And the thought came to mind, like, how about I take the food to him, and you can go home and see the person that you wanted to see before they go. And it was like, oh yeah, that'll work. So, did that. And, thank God she managed to still be able to see the person that she wanted to see. So I was very happy for that. I'm glad that, we were in a point that we can do that. Then we went to my father's house, and my father was obviously, if you know my family members, shout out to my brother who always watches my YouTube videos. By the way, he looks like Ice Cube. One day I'm gonna have to post a picture of him so you can see the resemblance. But anyhow, so for my siblings, who may be watching this, my father. And sometimes he may say he doesn't want to do something, but deep down inside, when we do show up, he will be very happy. And that was clearly evident. So it was my husband, and we just ended up taking my mom with us over there too. Now, my parents have been separated for many, many years. And my prayer has always been for the Lord to restore that relationship and to do a work in both of them, because it takes two to tango. And when you've been with someone for so many years, there's certain things that can happen that people get, you have ups and downs, and even though they're separated, they still have a friendship. They still spend time with each other here and there. They both live in separate places, but God can do anything. In 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verses 16 to 18, it talks about praying without ceasing. And at least maybe twice a week or once a week, when I remember, I ask the Lord, I bombard heaven. Yeah, I bombard heaven with prayers for my parents to get back together, because at the age that they are, they're 69 years old. I feel like they should be together. They should be in each other's company, and, they need each other. They're not getting any younger. So my dad, seemed like he did want company. And my mom, I would think of her like Edith Bunker from All in the Family. She wasn't catching on that, my dad wanted her to stay. And I'm trying to hint at her hey, he's wanting you to stay, but he's not going to say it. Eventually I told her, I spoke to her about going back and just, giving him company. And I was happy that was able to happen as well. So it's in the midst of not wanting to go anywhere, we ended up going somewhere and ended up blessing two people. So when you can be a blessing to someone else, do the best that you can. If you can catch it, then do it. Hi. Let me go around there. Yeah, if you can realize that God is trying to use you to be a blessing for someone else, then you should take advantage. Not just because of bragging rights. Oh yeah, I did this, I did that, and look what happened. No. The humility. Be humble enough to be able to hear from the Lord and do what he asks you to do, because you don't know what he's trying to do in the midst of using you as a tool to be a blessing to someone else. On the way home, it really warmed my heart. It blessed me so much that I was able to be a blessing for my parents. Two people who were like, oh, we're not going anywhere, we're not doing nothing, and they end up spending the day together, the night, and my dad took her home the next day. But he had companionship, she had companionship, and that's really important, in this season that we're living in. If you have a solid family unit, kudos to you. There's many people who don't have a solid family unit. People can't stand each other. They're married, but they can't stand each other. Or they're not married. They, boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever. They live together. They've been living together for several years, still haven't got married. For some reason, Some people decide they don't want to get married, and some people, there's just something hindering them from taking that extra step. You go through everyday life, you go through the norm. Let's say if there's children involved, there could be, especially in the quarantine situation, there's times where what didn't bother you before, what you didn't notice before, you notice, and it starts to get under your skin, and then people start to fight, and then they start to discover things that they're nitpicking at, and then it's just a disaster, and that's not good. I know the depression rate is high, the suicide rate is high, anxiety rate is high, but there's a solution to all that, and the solution is Jesus Christ, because he's the only one that can save us from any of those things that we're dealing with. Oh, hello. Hello. Say hello to the people.
Say hello. Hi. Hi.
Hello. Well, what a surprise. My husband is putting up some more Christmas decorations that I asked him to put up. So I'm very happy to see that as I'm taking my stroll in the neighborhood. But yeah, so I'm not going to make this video very long. But I also wanted to mention, if you like to be on YouTube and you see certain videos that are kind of long and it's just kind of like, oh, I want to hear what they're talking about, but just not right now. I have a tool that you can use if you go to settings on your YouTube, whatever YouTube thing you're watching. There should be like 3 little dots for the settings. I know on my phone is like that. Your phone or your whatever device you're using might be different. But you go to your settings and look at the playback options, and it has where you can play the video at normal speed, 1.25, 1.50, 1.75, and 2.0. That will speed up the video. And if you're trying to watch a video that's 30 minutes long, if you do speed up ×2, it will end up being 15 minutes long. So that's what I do. Is I don't know about you, but certain things I'd like to watch, if I see like 30 minutes or an hour, I don't want to, unless I have the time to spend doing that, I'm going to fast forward through that. So that's a little tip for you. But I love you guys, and I hope that you're having a blessed holiday, you're having fun, treasure your loved ones. Tomorrow is not promised, and always remember, Jesus loves you and I love you too. Bye.